Let me introduce myself again. So I'm Arun Kumar Selvaraj. I'm from the Zoho Creator pre-sales team. Yesterday, I was presenting to you about the second most important component of Zoho Creator, which is the reports. And today, I'm here to talk about the third most important, that is the third component of Zoho Creator, which is the pages. Okay? So we had a pretty intense session, probably last 1 hour. So I just want you to look at some vibrant colors. Just relax yourself. Okay. So I'm going to show you some dashboards and then show you the pages component. So this was actually for, as you can see, it's for an appraisal management system which we built. And the pre-sales team, we also do some proof of concepts. And when we engage with evaluators and they come to the end of the session, end of the evaluation, that is the 15-day trial, they have created a lot of reports, they've created a lot of forms, but it's kind of boring to look at every form, every report, right? So you don't want to go and click on a report and generate it every day. You want more like an at-a-glance view of how all your data is, and you want it to see in a single pane of glass. That's the main idea. You want to project it on a big screen like this. See, you can easily know that Nick has completed 353 appraisal reports. Kind of easy to understand and easy on the eye kind of reports. And let me show you that in one of the real live mode scenarios. So this is one such beautiful application, like the page which we built. So you can see it's got all the trophies and all. Like it's pretty easy to understand that the revenue generated is around $62,000. So this is all being on the presentation layer. So we were earlier working on the reports and workflows and forms. So now we are coming to the completion of the app where the pages play a very important role. So this is one such app which we built. And again, I'm going to show you one other cooking class related app which we built, which has got all the essential items. Like you can see the requisition orders, you can see the calendars, the upcoming orders, the menu item. So the form which we created earlier can be embedded in a page, and you can have a nice pop-up window coming up so that you don't have to jump to a different section to fill out a form. Everything is part of the page component itself, and you can pretty much submit it from here, click on a new event, it opens up another form. So this is the main purpose of the page, and I'm going to show you one more view. So I think you've heard about the accordion musical instrument, right? So similar to that, we have an option here where you can click on it, and it automatically closes and expands kind of view. So we have created all this using the page component. So you can see that. So what happens in this particular scenario is that we are actually going one step at a time. So the user will be filling out the first form, and then he goes to the second form, and then the third form. And after completion of the first three forms, it goes to the second module, which is the scope of work approval. So coming to the actual, so I've got the screenshots of all these pages just for your view, and these are the example pages. So to define a page is a core component where it basically has all the reports summarized in an HTML and deluge script. Basically, it's a component which holds all these reports, and it's decorated using HTML. And you also use deluge scripts to pick out value from the report and then show it on a screen. So we use Zoho Creator supports HTML5, which is Hypertext Markup Language 5, and CSS. For people who are new to it, it's Cascading Style Sheet, and it's 3.0. And we support these versions of HTML and CSS. And the prerequisites is that you don't have to have any knowledge about HTML, so you don't have to worry that I cannot create these beautiful pages. It's all pre-built, and we have easy options to build that. I'm going to show you how to do that in the next few minutes. And the basic knowledge of deluge scripts, I'm sure everybody in this room has got, I think, intermediate to expert level knowledge by now. So we can easily build these scripts and have them embedded in the page. So coming to the application itself, let me go to the Karen's application itself. So you can see here that just go to create new, click on page. That's the third component which we're going to create. And when you create Just give a name to it. So you have two modes of creation here. You can see that we've got the script builder on the top, and if you just click on it, you can also switch between the free flow and the script builder. Okay? So people who are, pretty confident with HTML and deluge, they can just start using the script flow mode, where it's really easy, but it's not very intuitive. Like if you make an error, you will not know it. But if it's a script builder, it's an easy drag and drop. You can insert HTML, you can insert an expression or a form or a report using this option. Okay. So let's start with a cliched hello world example here. So I'm going to be creating that. So I would recommend everybody to now go to the component, just start creating a new page component on your existing setup, and then we'll create this. This is going to be a script. It's just going to display hello world when you actually execute it. Okay. So I'm going to do that with you. I'm going to use the free flow mode. Okay. Some people have questions on what is the P tag here under the hello world. So in order to avoid that confusion, I would recommend you to go to this link, word2html.net. It's an easy HTML syntax generator. Just click on it. It's opening up on my page. Okay. So I'm going to zoom in a little. Okay. So let me type in hello world. Okay. So you can see on the right hand side of the page, I've got the HTML tag automatically generated. So all I have to do is just copy it. I want to just have the bold option enabled on this, so let me do that here. So in this case, the HTML looks like this. So I'm going to copy this. So the URL again, probably for people who are trying to do is word2html.net. Okay. I'm sure you have taken that down. So I'm going to take it back to this place between the two parentheses you have here. So it's below the content section. So I'm going to paste it. I've got the HTML automatically generated and pasted here. So let's see what happens if I save this right now. Okay? So you can see that there is an error which tells us that it is an improper statement. Okay? So we did the correct format, but it still throws an error. The reason for that is anything between these two tags, you can see here, the ones which are highlighted in red, we expect them to be deluge scripts because it's within the Zoho creator environment. So we expect that to be a deluge script, but actually it is an HTML script, right? So in order to have this HTML properly executed like a web page, all we have to do is just make sure that the parentheses here are actually closed. So it's going to be assuming that it's going to be HTML. So all I did was just typed in these symbols here, like the percentage followed by the greater than symbol. And on the sixth line here, I'm going to be doing the less than symbol and the percentage symbol. So now if I save this, okay, so it's going to be, it's assuming that it's not deluge anymore. It's going to be HTML. So if I go to the Access application here, so it's actually showing hello world. It's probably on the left side corner because we didn't do much of an alignment. I just wanted to display that content. Okay, so let's do one more exercise in this end. So I'm going to be mentioning that. Okay, let's go to the format. Okay. So I'm going to have the same thing. So now I'm going to copy it again fully. Then come back to the page and then replace it. So it's getting saved. Okay. So when I click on the Access application, so it just it's probably on the corner, so it looks a little ugly. But the point is that you can still have that displayed. So if I want to replace the value today, right? So today I want to replace it with today's date value. I don't want to have the word today. So in that case, we can use a deluge system variable. So we're going to use those system variables. So in order to use a Zoho system variable or any deluge variable, we have to enclose it within this symbol. So I'm going to put that here, less than, greater than, and then you can have 2 percentages, okay? And then you can have an equal to symbol. So I'll repeat it again, so it's probably easy. So you just have less than, greater than, then you have 2 percentages in between, and then you have the equal to symbol, and following which we can have the variable now. So it's going to be Zoho dot current date. So this, you can now see that the variable, the today, is going to be changed with the actual date. So it gets displayed in this format. So it shows that the variable is there. So this is just to start using page builder. So I'm going to be going back to this page again. So this is what I just want to rephrase it again. So, and if it's going to be any deluge statement, we've got to close the HTML tags by using these 2 symbols. And if you want to insert any deluge variable, you got to have the symbol, which we discussed earlier, and in between that, you include the equal to symbol, followed by the actual expression to get that value. Just do one more exercise before we actually build a dashboard. And this is going to be very useful. It's a little advanced also, but I think it will be useful to know how to involve deluge and HTML in a page, okay, so that we are very clear about that. So to begin with, we are going to be using a for loop. So for each value, and it's going to be the form name in the form name. And then you have some HTML. You can see the paragraph tag, the p tag. The p tag is also going to be there, and we are going to have the deluge variable. So let's do that in the actual application. So I'm going back to the same application. So here, so in order to insert the statement, right? The for each is actually a deluge statement. So how do I do it? So I can't do it within this tag because I've already closed all the deluge operations, and now I'm dealing only with HTML. So in order to execute a statement, we have to go to the symbol there. So you can see it's got the red parentheses on the top. Just press enter, and then you can start typing your deluge commands here. Okay. So let's do that. For each value, so I'm going to put it as value, and so we use the example registration, so let's stick with that. So here we have just the outer part of the command being executed, but now I wanted some HTML to also be included. So I want to display So how do I do this? So now you've got, so it's a little confusing, right? So now I went inside the first bracket, and then I started executing some deluge scripts. So how do I go about mixing both HTML and deluge inside the options? So I've not escaped it so far. So the solution to that is we have to, again, use the escape operator, which we discussed earlier. So this is the for loop, and it is going to be, after this parenthesis, it's going to be having HTML. So I have to, again, close that deluge operation. So I have to do this option. So I'm just closing it because you can see here, we have the operator here, we have the closing operator here, and then it's closed now. So now we are free to use HTML. Again, here we are going to be closing the HTML part, so I'm going to use the less than symbol and the percentage. So now we are going to be using deluge and HTML together in the page. Okay, so now we're going to save it. So adding to this, I want to display the email address, which is got from this loop value. So in order to insert the deluge variable, I think we discussed earlier, so we're going to put the less than, greater than symbol, followed by the percentage, and then followed by equal to, and then value dot email. Okay. I think I've got the variable called email, but anyway, let's check it. Yes, we got it. Okay. So we are going to be having a loop. It's going through the records and going to display all the email address there. So you can see it's actually displaying all the email addresses in a loop. So like we've got around 67 or 47 entries. So all of them are getting executed, and you have the hello world at the bottom. So the for loop gets executed, and then comes the other options. So even in the Creative 5, I think a lot of people I was discussing with a few attendees, and they were saying that Creative 5 is simplifying everything, the pages. But it's always good to know this part, because we have, in Creative 5, we have an option called deluge server pages. I'm sure you've seen that in the presentation, right? So for making full use of the deluge server pages, we need to know these syntax, right? So only then you can, even in Creative 5, which is much more intuitive, and you have all the basic templates available and the charts and the panels available, even in that, you would definitely use these scripts. So it's always good to know all this so that you can get the best out of the pages component there. Okay? So great. So having done this, let's see one other exercise, which is we're going to be having the option to embed reports. Yesterday we created 3 reports, right? Calendar report, list report, and we did a pivot chart. So let's have that report displayed inside this particular page. Okay, so in order to do that, all you have to do is, I'll do that again. So just go to the script builder mode. Yeah. So you see this option called embed form report. Here you can embed both the 2 components of Zoho Creator, and you can choose report, choose which report you wanted. Let's say the revenue, right? Here you can see that the report which we generated yesterday, which is a pivot chart, it's already there inside the page component. So in a similar fashion, you can have a lot of reports. You can drag and drop and have them in a single view, so that you don't have to go to multiple tabs or multiple clicks to get to a particular report. There is one other option where we can have a published report being displayed. So let's go into one such report. I'll show you another option to do that. So if you go to the registration report, there is an option called publish. So if you click on publish, you have an option called embed. So you have the iframe tags here. So you can copy this entire URL, and if it is published, you can have this embedded inside your page. Okay? So the advantage here is that you can also set the pixel height, the width size. I can just copy it and again paste it inside the HTML page. So moving forward, a lot of people would like to have an invoice template, or you would like to have a base template, right? So it's a lot of hard work to build an actual website kind of look and feel. So we are going to give you the shortcuts. Like, there are a lot of websites where you can get free HTML templates. The link is there. So if you go to the W3 schools, we have some default website templates. You can just click on try it yourself, and you have the template available already. So you just have to copy the entire HTML content and paste it inside the page component of Zoho Creator, and you already have all the CSS components handled, and you just got to put in the deluge variables. So now that we know how to insert deluge variables, we can easily do it. So I'm going to be showing you how we can actually use a template which you downloaded probably in the previous setup. So I'm sure everybody has downloaded the dashboard sample.txt file, right? Hopefully you have them downloaded. Just open that file and have it ready. One of the best practice while using the pages is that we'll make sure that we use all the HTML and the deluge commands inside custom functions. Okay, so go back here. I'll show you like this dashboard. When you have like 100 lines of HTML code and you have another 200 lines of deluge code, it's going to look very ugly, and you cannot troubleshoot it very easily. So in that case, that is the best practice is to always have any value which you're going to display inside a page being got from a function. So I think in the previous session, I think Tejas talked about how do you create a function to make an API call, right? Similar to that, we build a function and have a dedicated namespace for it, and then we make a call to that and get the variable and display it within a Zoho Creator. So that's what we're going to do. So let's create a simple function initially so that it'll be easy for us to make use of it in the script. So I'm going to do that very quickly. So let's go to the function area. So just click on function, click on new function, and give a name for it. Let's say lesson. This is going to be in the namespace called dashboard widgets, which I've already created. I'm going to have the return type to be string. Okay, so I'll click on this, and I think everybody can see that. So the next option is I'm going to make use of the script builder because it's easy for everybody to do it instead of writing any piece of code. So you can just drag and drop the aggregate records. So you can see that here. So just drag and drop that component, that particular task here. So it will ask for a variable. So let's say as something like value 2, something like that. I'm going to choose a form. The form is going to be lessons. The main goal of this particular function is that I want to get the number of classes which has been completed so far. So it's going to be the end time of these classes is going to be less than the current time. That is the logic here. So we're going to use the date field here, okay, and I'm going to use the less than operator, and then use a Zoho variable called current time, and click on done. And this has already got an aggregate function called count, so you don't have to write the dot count variable. It's already there. Just click on done. It's there. We'll move to the top. And since this function is returning a string type, it has got the default symbol, like the empty close within quotes. So you've got to edit it and change it into a proper value. So we're going to be returning this value, and we're going to convert it into a string because by default the count value is a number. So I'm going to convert it into a string value by making use of the string function called as toString. Okay, I've got it here. So it's pretty easy to do it when you're using the script builder, and we just click on save. It's already there. We're going to make use of this function inside our page. I would ask everybody to just open that txt file called my sample dashboard, my dashboard sample. So if you got that open, we have to go here and click on the option, create new page, just give a name. Go to the free flow mode and copy whatever is there already in the text file and then paste it here. Okay? So it should look something like this, which I've already created. When you paste it here, it will look like that, and when you execute it, it will have this view coming up. So this is the value. So we're going to replace the first box here, the green box, which has got the value 60. We're going to have functions return variable being assigned to that. That's what I wanted to tell you. That's a very basic example because we can't go in deep and fill out all the boxes. So I'm going to show that how we can do it. So we're going to replace the lessons, which is showing as 60, with the actual value of that function. So in order to do that, I'll go to the script builder again. So I'm going to show that, save that value in variable called lesson count 3, and can use. Okay, so it's pretty unclear to see here. Okay, so I'll do that again. So just drag and drop this variable called set variable. Then go to user defined functions. Choose, this is the app which we're currently working on, choose the dashboard widgets, and you see all the functions which we have created. We created the function called lesson count 2, and then give a variable to store this value. So I'm going to put it as value 3. So it's up here. It's the value which I created is actually here. Value equal to Karen's cooking class dashboard widgets lesson 2. Okay, so that is what it is. But even when we have a few HTML places, it looks little not arranged properly, right? So that's the reason we use functions. In spite of using that, it looks like that. So I'm going to be, we have saved that value in something called as value 3. I'm going to use this value 3 and have it displayed in the green color box. So that particular value is actually stored here. You can see that the value 60 appears here. So I'm going to replace that. So we saw how we can do that. If you wanted to insert a deluge variable, you have to enclose it within less than, greater than symbol, and then have 2 percentages, and then equal to, followed by the variable name. So the value 3 is the variable which we define here on the top. You can see that. And we're going to use the same value here, and then we click on Save Script. So now if you access the application, yeah, you got the value here. You can see that. So we have the value 8 being displayed. So the generic 60 value is being replaced with the actual number of lessons we have. So that's how you pass values from deluge and insert it into the HTML content here. In the same app, we can also embed the report which we created yesterday. So in order to do that, we just have to use the drag and drop function. I'll do that right now. So let's have the revenue again. So it's going to be easy. So just click on Done, save it, and you click on Access. So now you have the revenue displayed. So I thought of having it on the top, but it just came at the bottom. So you can have the reports. It's easy to drag and drop and have it displayed. So in a similar fashion, you can have multiple reports, pie charts, pivot charts, calendar report, mixed along with the different values which we generate in these colored boxes, and make it like a single pane of glass. Okay, so if the CEO or anybody wants to see what's the status or how good your business is running, they can clearly look at a page and understand what's happening. So we've covered all this. And finally, we just wanted to generate the class certificate. I've already built this certificate. It's always good to go return back to our house with a proper certificate, right, that we have actually completed the cooking class. So I've had that ready. I'll show you how it is. It's set up here. We have that available in the registration module. So if we click on the generate certificate, so you can see that certificate appears with the proper value. The one I showed you in the presentation was in the PPT was actually without any values. So now I'm actually passing the value for this particular record. So you can see that it is having all the data. So this is also built using a page. The only difference here is that this is a page, but I'm passing a parameter here. And the point I was trying to make was that when you build a page, like that, which is a component of Zoho Creator, you can also pass a parameter so that it's looking very dynamic. It's not going to be a static HTML page, but you can see that we are passing a parameter on the top, which is like after the certificate, we have a question mark, and we are passing a variable called student ID. And based upon the student ID which is passed to this page, it actually changes the data, right? So I'll show you with one other example here. So you can click on any particular record, it's going to automatically change and show the corresponding option. So I've got the print also enabled, so you get the print page by default. So the name got changed now. It's depending upon the record. So we are actually passing the parameter. So when we build the HTML page, we have the student ID on the top, and that ID is being used to fetch the value, and then based upon the value which is fetched, we are filling out values for name, date, and then course. Okay, so then it looks like this. So we have the name, the course, and the date being displayed. and it's totally customizable. You can take a printout and hand it out to your students at the end of the course. So this is exactly what I wanted to show. So this is all we discussed. So we talked about the need for having a page component in Zoho Creator, and we did a few basic exercises on how to use deluge and the HTML together and build a page. We created a sample dashboard just to replace one colored box. I think it was successful. And then we generated the class certificate by passing a parameter to a page. So this is about the pages. Thank you.